So Arkansas is doing a thing, and I'm not exactly thrilled about it. So, let's go ahead and talk about this shit. Okay? So, this is from March 30th. This has been updated since then, but we're going to talk about this first. Oh, where's the border for my TV? There it is. Sorry. Arkansas has passed anti-trans legislation. What does this anti-trans legislation do? Well, it limits access to medical care for minors. Okay. Let's take a look at what is being said in the article. The Arkansas legislature on Monday became the latest state to pass harmful anti-transgender legislation this year, overwhelmingly supporting a new bill that would prohibit doctors from providing medically necessary treatment to trans kids. The bill would prohibit doctors from providing minors with treatments including puberty blockers, hormone therapies, or any transitional procedures. Doctors who flout the law could lose their licenses, and patients that have been receiving medical care would have it cut off immediately. So let's go ahead and figure out something here. I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. If you are a cis child and you are dying of cancer, let's say it is breast cancer, and we catch it, not dying of it, but you have it and we catch it in the early stages, and we use puberty blockers in order to stop the cancer from growing, that's perfectly fine. We can give the puberty blockers there. Oh, it's A-okay. But the minute that a trans child who is suffering from dysphoria, who wants to use the puberty blockers so that they are not suffering mentally, the minute that it's mental anguish, suddenly nobody cares. Suddenly it's not an issue anymore. Suddenly it's not something that they will do anything about. And if you were already in the middle of receiving treatment, well, I guess screw you. Oh yeah, the whole video is being done in yandere mode. I'm so sorry for anybody who's off-put by that. This is how I feel right now. There is not a happy bone in my body. So, the bill is titled, The Arkansas Save Adolescents from Experimentation. Despite the fact that it's not experimentation, because, well, we know generally what the end result of these procedures are. There is a chance of two side effects. One side effect is you might have bone density issues, which is the exact same thing that happens, ironically, when you have very, very late-stage adolescence anyway. A thing that happens naturally in the first place, which is what the puberty blockers effectively do, is they make it to where you have adolescence later in life. So, there is also a potential of infertility, which, again, is another side effect of late-stage adolescence in general, which already happens naturally in people anyway. Those are the issues there. That's not the same thing as having somebody deal with mental anguish, their entire life. And, oh, by the way, just to point out, there are certain things that are not exactly reversible. For instance, the thing that happens with voices, for instance, the voice of a person who is born assigned male at birth, when they go through puberty, the way that the voice is, the way that their voice evolves during that time is not a reversible thing. You have to go through a type of therapy to actually lighten your voice after this point. Just gonna go and point out that puberty blockers prevent the larynx from expanding, which is one of those irreversible things that you can't just take hormones to fix. Your voice is still going to be the same going forward. You have to train that out of yourself. That's not very healthy. That's not a good thing for somebody to have to deal with. And there's a lot of other things that go on as well. But making somebody go through a puberty for a gender that they don't conform to, and then making them go through puberty twice, later on as an adult, as opposed to letting them just choose when their puberty is going to be and exactly which way it's going to manifest, I don't know. Seems kind of stupid to me to try to legislate against that. And again, they call this act the SAFE Act, and yet we generally know that puberty blockers are safe already. The bill, apparently, according to this article, relies on a host of misinformation and negative tropes about transgender people. WAPO notes that most doctors don't even perform gender-affirming surgeries until 18. Which is true. We don't fucking start doing... What was it that one dumb shit? Purple pill philosophy? That one dumb shit. That one. Who said chemical castration for children. Look, you're a fucking idiot. And I know you're going to be watching this later, so this is me telling you you're a fucking idiot. Okay? That's not what we're doing. That's not what's being done here. Okay? There. The attention you ordered is here. Consume your fucking cookie. Moron. Doctors don't perform those gender-affirming surgeries until they're 18. The puberty blockers are there to buy them the time for that. The legislation feeds into dog whistling circulated by right-wing media. It's unclear at the time of writing this article if the governor plans to sign the bill, but he is reviewing it. Last week, Hutchinson signed a separate law banning transgender girls from competing in sports. Another stupid bill, mind you. The latest passage drew immediate criticism from human rights groups, which called the bill dangerous and said it puts lives at risk. The American Civil Liberties Union has vowed to take the issue to court should Hutchinson sign the bill. Okay. Now, Republicans have increasingly targeted transgender Americans this year. We've been seeing a lot of these bills pass up. And you know what? I've been seeing comments by people saying, oh, they are putting these bills through not so that they can get passed, but to virtue signal. And then shit like this happens and the bills pass anyway. Really? You really think every single one of these bills was designed not to pass? The brainworms have dug that far into your cranium? Sure thing, bud. Buckaroo in the comment section. Trans rights in chat. Because fuck these guys. YouTube is demonetizing this video, I know it. So, we're not going to go further into this particular article because this is old news. This is from a week ago. Since then, Governor Hutchinson has vetoed the bill. Yay! Everybody happy! Everybody be perfectly fine. Everything's golden. The veto happened. Yay! Except we have more information. House and Senate in Arkansas override the governor's veto of the transgender treatment bill. The Arkansas legislature has overturned Governor Hutchinson's veto of a ban on transgender-affirming care for transgender youth, with a majority of both chambers voting to override in largely party-line votes on Tuesday afternoon. The Senate's vote was 25-8. Senator Clark Tucker said that he was concerned about the most powerful people bullying the most vulnerable. Had it moved for immediate consideration of the motion to override to protect children. Barring legal action, the law will take effect during the summer. The Arkansas House on Tuesday voted 72-25 to override the veto of a bill to ban gender-affirming treatment for transgender youth. The House bill is Bill 1570, and it is it was put forward by Representative Robin Lindstrom. It bans certain surgeries and hormone treatments, surgeries that weren't generally happening in the first place, but the hormone treatments were for people under age 18. Hutchinson announced his veto of the bill Monday, saying it constitutes a legislative overreach into the relationship between doctors and patients and their families. Remember, conservatives are for small government until it means they can restrict people's rights. If they can restrict people's rights, they're for it. All for it. 110%. And here we are. Lundstrom said the state steps in to protect the health and safety of youth in other instances, like requiring new parents to have a child seat in their car before leaving the hospital, or preventing them from smoking and getting tattoos. That's not the same thing as puberty blockers, which are... So here's the difference between puberty blockers and the side effects of smoking. The side effects of smoking are generally not necessarily reversible. Once you hit a certain point, and cancers start developing in the lungs, you don't really start reversing that by no longer introducing more tar into the lungs. You just stop exacerbating it. Tattoos are not exactly reversible either, especially considering that the skin stretches as you get older, so getting tattoos when you're younger makes less sense because your body is going to grow and morph and it's going to warp the actual tattoo. That said, these are things that are considered largely permanent, whereas the effects of puberty blockers are reversible by just no longer taking the puberty blockers. That's it. That's the magic. There you go. Experts in gender diverse care, both in state and nationality, have said concerns proponents of the bill. Wow, okay. Nope. I am done with that. Muting notifications. Mute. Goodbye. Boom. No more of that. Thank you. Bye. Experts in gender diverse care, both in the state and nationally, have said concerns proponents of the bill. I feel like this is not written correctly. Maybe I am wrong. Have expressed concerns proponents of the bill have expressed about hormone treatment are rooted in misinformation, and that those treatments are best practice. The surgeries targeted by the bill are not performed on children in Arkansas. Again, as I fucking pointed out, we don't do the surgeries until later. If people even end up wanting them, there are plenty of trans people who don't go through surgery. Even medicine sometimes is wrong. We should never experiment on children ever, Lindstrom says. All right, so by this logic, when I was dying of appendicitis, surgery should not have been done on me. I should have just died of the appendicitis. Because, again, puberty blockers are not experimentation on children. It's a largely understood medicine. We've been using it to fight particular cancers for years. We know what they do, how they do it, and the side effects of them. So, when you sit here as the legislature and say that even medicine is sometimes wrong, you are effectively making an argument that we should not do anything to children ever medically. And fine, I guess if you would have preferred I die, then by all means. House Minority Leader Tippy McLaw said that if legislators had conversations to transgender youth and experts in their case, as Hutchinson said he did, they would have come to the same conclusion as he did. Put aside everything and search your own heart and think about these parents and these children and their doctors. A simple majority in both chambers overrides the veto. The House's vote was mostly along party lines, as fucking usual. The measure now heads to the Senate. So let's talk about this. We are currently in the scenario where this bill could potentially become law. It might become law. So let's get the first thing out of the way. As I said before, every single one of you big-brained overlords who wants to come in and say, these aren't designed to pass anyway, so what's the deal? Well, now you have some of them that are passing. Just like when everybody was talking about transgender sports shit, it was never about sports then, and it's not about it now. So why don't we go ahead and just agree to exist in the same reality for a little bit? The reality where this is in fact happening, and it does in fact suck, and it is a thing that is harmful to children. Okay? We agree that denying children medical care and psychological care, because by the way, psychological care is covered in here too. Therapy was one of the things that the bill is having issue with as well. So, we agree that children having access to these things is good, right? And we agree that barring access to these things is bad? I'd hope so. Unless you're a fucking idiot. And I'm past the point of reasoning. I'm past the point of somebody commenting going, wow, you're being really abrasive about this. I feel like maybe my mind would have been changed if you weren't so abrasive about the... Nah, fuck you. You came in here to be an asshole. You came in here to be an idiot. You didn't come here to have your mind changed. You came here to leave the same comment, Brian, that you do on every video. Fuck off. I don't like your company in my comment section. Out. This bill and all of the other bills like it, because we're going to get into other bills like it. All of the other bills like it are designed to strip away rights from minority groups. Let's look at another, shall we? We have a North Carolina bill that would ban treatment of trans people under 21. Oh, so even once they're legally an adult at 18, they still can't get treatment at this point. This one goes a little further. 3 North Carolina Republican lawmakers introduced a bill Monday that would prevent doctors from performing gender-affirming surgery for transgender people younger than 21. This legislation follows another nationwide trend of GOP-controlled state legislatures looking to limit treatment for transgender adolescents. Unlike other states, however, North Carolina would classify adults between the ages of 18 and 21 as minors. So guess what? Not only are we going to be removing the ability for children to have access to puberty blockers, which again, cis children have access to them in cases of things like cancer already, so we are literally just limiting the scope of medications that are allowed for children under an arbitrary label like gender. Not only are we doing that, but also we are infantilizing adults. Adults that can enter the military are not able to receive gender-affirming care. What the fuck, North Carolina and Arkansas and everywhere? I'm sure there's something in Georgia, too. I'm sure there is. With Marjorie Greene here, of course we would have it. Medical professionals who facilitate a transgender person's desire to present themselves or appear in a different way that is inconsistent with their biological sex could have their license revoked and face civil fines of up to $1,000 per occurrence. This measure bars doctors from providing gender-conforming hormone treatment or puberty blockers or surgery, which again, the surgery wasn't happening in those cases. But I mean, once they're 18, if an 18-year-old, an adult that could potentially pay their own way through here, I mean, big potential, a doctor could lose their medical license for performing this even though they are an adult. This Senate bill is Senate Bill 514. And it would also compel state employees to immediately notify parents in writing if their child displays gender nonconformity or expresses a desire to be treated in a way that is incompatible with the gender they were assigned at birth. I don't remember what the other state was that had some shit like this, where, like, if a child might be trans or might be gay, the teachers would get fined and kicked out of their school if they didn't engage with that, if they didn't, like, notify the parent that their child might be trans. You know, that thing that if they happen to be in an evangelical household, they could get kicked out of their house for, or abused, beat, starved, any of that shit. No. We instead of letting them come out of the closet safely when they are able to, instead, we have legislators who are going, no. That's information that the parents need right away. How about this? If a child is in the closet, maybe there's a reason they're in the fucking closet. And maybe that reason should not be overturned because you're just a concerned lawmaker. You care about the kids so much. So much. So much that you would put them in a situation where they might get beat, abused, harmed, or otherwise. Otherwise, loving parents, based on their evangelical practices, will end up becoming violent towards their children. It has happened before, it will happen again, and it continues to happen to this day. Transgender youth have the best chance to thrive when they are supported and affirmed, not singled out and denied critical care that is backed by virtually every leading health authority, said a statement from Jasmine Beach Ferreira, executive director of the Campaign for Southern Equality, adding that a person's gender identity shouldn't limit their ability to access healthcare or be treated with dignity and respect. Again, thank you. Was pointing out earlier in the stream that we use puberty blockers for other medical treatments besides trans care, and in those cases, they're perfectly fine to give to minors. But if the minor just happens to be trans, they magically have this barrier where we have to be really uber-duper super concerned about what it's going to do to them. Okay. Republican State Senator Ralph Hayes, who represents portions of the western North Carolina, wrote the bill, did not immediately to respond to requests for comments. Oh, wow, look, he's a fucking coward. Why not answer to the people who sign your paycheck? Shithead. GOP Warren Daniel and Norman Sanderson, who represent western and coastal areas of the state, respectively, also support the proposal. In Arkansas on Monday, the state's Republican governor, Asa Hutchinson, vetoed a bill, and this is talking about the Arkansas bill that we were talking about earlier. The proposal in North Carolina will almost certainly not become law, despite GOP majorities in both states, House and Senate. So they, in North Carolina, believe that this will most certainly not become law, but it's already becoming law in Arkansas. Like, it's already on its way to the Senate in Arkansas. It's already well on its way to become ratified into their shit there. Oh, but North Carolina, magically, this isn't going to happen in. Again, for every single one of you that are sitting here going, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. Bitch, it's here, it's happening, and we have to deal with it now, okay? Seriously, get the Republicans out of your offices. Get them right the hell out. Yeah, the Democrats suck too. But they don't suck this bad. Anywho. What do you think about all this? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm mad, and I think I've made that very, very abundantly clear. With all that said, if you want to support my channel, the description has places you can do that in. But I'm just going to conclude this with saying, this is America. We're supposed to be the land of the free. Why are we trying to strip minorities of their human rights? Why? Insert end of video tagline here.